Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Frankly Speaking, and it's always a pleasure to have you on the post-budget interview, Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman. How does it feel to be the first finance minister to present 9 consecutive budgets and make a record of your own?
First of all, thank you, Navika, for having me, and it is an annual exercise which we do, and it's always refreshing to have a chat after the budget, getting into the details of it, in the way you would ask the questions. On the specific question, I don't think it is yet sunk into me. I'm allowing it to happen. So, how does it feel? I've not felt anything at all. Yeah.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Why? Is Nirmala Sitharaman very strict, doesn't think about these things? She's only worried about the numbers in the budget document?
No, not that way. But nothing which is so overpowering to say, oh, I'm feeling elated, I've broken the record. Nothing of that. I take it in my stride and keep moving.
Is that your basic nature?
I think so, and that is why sometimes people feel it's boring. What's this? Why don't you react?
Nirmala Tai is very strict, they say.
I'm not.
You're not? Yes. Some of us who've known you from your earlier days as a Karyakarta as well know that you're not. But Nirmala ji, I mean, sometimes you wonder, in the space of 48 hours, so much can happen.
That's right.
The budget has been presented, and actually, from a news person's point of view, the budget is passé because we are now talking about
Absolutely.
the Indo-US trade deal.
That's right.
I want to begin with that. The announcement came from President Trump's tweet, and the opposition is up in arms that do we have a hold over decisions that impact India to such a large extent? Why do these announcements actually happen from Washington and not from New Delhi?
Well, I think the PM's tweet also came to say it's good news, made in India products are going to be sold in the US market with lesser tariff and so on. To be fair, I think both sides have come out with, at least the principals have come out with their respective tweets. But because it happened so late in the night, in the morning, you start having details about expectations about details of what exactly this is. So naturally the opposition would want to know. But want to know is different from straight plunging to protest to know. You know, I'm quite okay with them repeatedly asking, give us the details. What exactly is it? The first tweets from the two principals is on tariff reduction. They've yet not spoken about complete details of the trade deal. Maybe one side did, the other side did not, but the joint statement is what is going to give you the complete picture on it. And that is why today the Commerce Minister, Piyush Goyal ji, was going to give a suo motu statement in the Lok Sabha, but of course the Lok Sabha got adjourned because of the disturbances. I understand he's addressed the press as well. So, sometimes just a couple of hours wait doesn't hurt anybody, particularly on these kind of major decisions between two countries. Because when you inform people, because each one of us occupies some positions, and they are positions which people are watching for responsible statements to come. As leader of opposition, what you utter, each word of what you utter, is taken seriously by the people. So a few hours, or probably just call up saying what's happening, would you come and explain it? The speaker has already given time for the Commerce Minister to speak. They didn't have to be so aggressive and disruptive in the House. You could have waited for him to come and say the statement. But then you would know all the details based on which, of course, you're welcome to question the government any number of times. More clarity, seek more clarity. That's fine. But you really can't jump at every one of the situation showing your frustration. You're a leader for the opposition, please. And opposition will have to be tirelessly putting the government on the mat. But not disruptively, not with frustration. You're a responsible leader. That's my expectation, because not just me, people of India are looking at you. They gave you the vote to be in the opposition and question. Do that. Get the answer out of us.
But you don't allow him to speak. Yesterday, he raised a question of national security. His question was based on a magazine article, fair, the book is not published, but there have been so many times stories that we have done, our channel has done, on which you have stalled Parliament in the past. So it isn't as if stories that come out in the print media or on television channels are not discussed, not debated, and the opposition hasn't raised question. This time Rahul Gandhi raised question about former army chief's book, excerpts of which have come out in a magazine. Why would the government not even allow him to speak?
Navika, I want you to please go back to... I receive your question, I appreciate your question, I welcome it. But the credibility of Rahul Gandhi standing up and speaking on questions has given a record of him depending on false information all this while. You'll probably recall the Rafale debate, where he just stood up with, documents which you can't authenticate. He'll readily authenticate what he has in his hand, but which turned out to be, later on I came up with documents to say, sorry, what you're quoting is wrong, sorry, what you're quoting is half-truth, all that. So his credibility is such. But when we speak about proceedings in the House, it's not what the Treasury wants. The Speaker is the arbiter. He's going to be able to tell you that, hold on, I want him to speak. He's called you, you speak. And naturally, when MPs stand up to protest, saying when you're doing things which are baseless, or when you're speaking with that kind of a certainty based on things which are not published, there will be protest. You should hold your calm. You should hold your reason. You should hold the authority with which you speak, saying, listen, the Speaker's given me the right. I am speaking on certain things I want you to hear. Whereas if you're disruptive and your people will come and throw about papers, is there order? Is there order in the House, which is what the opposition constantly tells us?
Today. I am still on yesterday's on the national security aspect. What did he say? He said, General Narawane said he tried to reach out to the government, to the defense minister. He got a call back 2.5 hours later, and that's what the article says, quoting purportedly what is in the unpublished book, that jo uchit hai wo kijiye. I think the record was very straight. The government was on a very, very positive wicket. They could have played on the front foot by not allowing the opposition leader to speak. Have you actually created a situation where people are wondering, is there something to hide?
No, but when the defense minister, Raksha Mantriji, gets up and says, this is what happened, we've given them complete freedom to choose their time, choose the way in which they want to do the attack. And he stood up and said, which has been said by Honorable PM several times earlier before. Even then, you would continue with the tirade. You're not moving on to the next issue. You're continuously going ahead as though no one replied. Does that matter at all? A reply has come. A response has come from the Raksha Mantri, no less. But you'd still continue with your, arrogated tirade? Leader of the opposition with responsibility asks the question, and you think the Treasury will not answer? But the answer doesn't matter to you because you've come with a closed mind. You don't want to hear it at all. You've come with an agenda to speak the way you want to speak, irrespective of what reply you get. You take that into cognizance, build your case up. Who's stopping you? No, the reply doesn't matter. I'll go on my own route. Why would people sit and listen to that kind of a, I've come with a set agenda, I'll go ahead with it irrespective of what you say. Even that.
Are you saying Rahul Gandhi makes it personal?
Oh, several times, hasn't he? He's called the Prime Minister different names. He's called me a liar. He personalizes every debate. I've never seen him talk on issues. talk like a statesman, talk like a, leader of the opposition. So many opposition parties which are sitting along with him are fully in support for him. What else does he want? To be responsible and speak responsibly in a house which has so many experienced members sitting.
But Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman, on the Indo-US trade deal, we know tariffs have come down from 50 to 18%. But that's all that we know. We don't know because there is talk. The Agriculture Secretary in the United States has said that there would be market access to farm goods. There is talk of oil not being purchased from Russia anymore, and that America and Venezuela would be our oil suppliers. These are part of the official statements that have come from Washington. Do you not expect the opposition or anybody in this country to ask you, give us details?
Absolutely right, and you're right to ask. Leader of the opposition, opposition parties, people of India are right to ask that question. But would you wait for the reply? Which is not happening after 1 month. This evening, 4:30, I was told the Honorable Commerce Minister was going to give a statement in the House. Would you wait for him or not? He was even in, if I know right, and I don't want to disclose anything else, he was in Mumbai and he was rushing back. You wait for an official, clear reply. Suo moto statement he was going to give. No, I do not want. Tell us now. He is the authority to tell because he is the minister concerned. But without listening to the minister, you go about giving misleading information as though you've seen the deal. Please, have you seen the deal? Tell us. So why
have you seen the deal?
No, why would you want
have you seen the deal?
It's the minister who will see, not every cabinet minister.
But the minister briefed earlier this evening.
Yes.
And the details are, if I may say so, still scanty. He has given a statement saying that the agriculture sector, the dairy sector will be protected. It's a general kind of assurance. It's not the details of the deal that we know so far.
He will give it to you. He will give the details. These are not things which are going to remain in closed files. They are public documents. It will come out. You will know what is being given, what is being taken, what is reciprocity, and how much is our export getting access for, what are we going to import. Everything is going to come out to you. How many are going to come into effect when the agreement takes effect. It will come into force from at the time of effect itself. Some come into effect after a year, some after 2 years, and so on. All this is going to come out.
Cub, when?
The statement was not even given. You didn't allow it.
But the press conference happened. No questions were taken. No responses are given to the leader of opposition in Parliament.
Right? Would you want him to say everything in the media before he says it in the Parliament?
Because Parliament, you're not answering. So you came to the media and you spoke. Not too many details there either. The question I'm asking is, and when Rahul Gandhi tweets on 3 issues, on national security, on the trade deal, and on Epstein files, he's raised 3 issues. On none of these are there any clear answers. He may have a point.
A leader of opposition, any time he asks a question or tweets or stands up to speak, has a point. I'm not denying that. But the point sometimes is not substantiated with facts. They are insinuations sometimes. I'm not saying every time. But even if it is an insinuation, we are ready to give a reply, provided you want to hear it. What is the record of our leader of opposition? He is not there, or if he is there, he is sleeping, or if he is there, he doesn't even allow the Prime Minister to speak. How many times when he has been present in the House, his party has created such a halla, despite that the Prime Minister speaks, irrespective of the levels to which they go to disturb him. Didn't they stand, even as he was standing and speaking in the well, right under his nose, and throwing and showing placards? Even then the PM replied. He would reply. But you were never willing to hear. And I know sometimes, even after that, when they stand up, when he stands up, or any one of our ministers stands up to reply, they walk away. The walkout happens without listening. So did you ask questions for no reply situation? Or did you walk out because you were scared that we'll come up with the facts and you don't want to face the facts? You walk out? I'll give you any number of examples where questions were asked, where we take the question seriously. And when we want to reply and we get up to reply, the leader of the opposition leads his flock out of the house. How is that?
Today, of course, I mean, every session we somehow, as people of India, we look at the proceedings in Parliament and things. I mean, it's as bad as it can get. It probably can't get worse.
No.
But then this session and today, there was tearing of papers, there was all kinds of things. So the chair was called...
Throwing it at the chair.
And the chair was called Yar. And, you know, are we in this posturing, in this war between the opposition benches? I mean, 8 MPs have been suspended. Where do you think are we going to go from there? And just because there is going to be a standoff between the opposition benches and the treasury benches in Parliament, will the country remain in the dark? Is a question a hapless citizen of India is asking.
Rightly. And I appreciate that. But we are not wanting to keep the citizen in the dark. We are not wanting to keep the Parliament in the dark. We want to respond, if only there's an opportunity given.
So let me ask you, on the agriculture sector, the statements that are in public domain, what does it mean? Farm goods from the United States of America, will they be free to come into the Indian market?
I don't know the details of the agreement, but I will assure you that farmers' interests, dairy interests are intact.
If you don't know the details, how can you assure?
Because before the negotiations, when all of us have spoken to each other, very clearly these were red lines given. So that to that extent I know. But the details will tell you where, how,
where
what.
Are these details?
You're going around in circles, Navika.
No, are these details in Washington or are they in New Delhi?
Both sides put their negotiation details and have it agreed, have whatever the level of agreement. So both sides have their own documents, don't they? So the Commerce Minister will tell you about it.
Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman, on the question of oil, if we have given an undertaking as per what's available in public domain that we will not buy cheaper Russian oil and we will now source our energy needs from the United States and Venezuela, can you assure this country that this will be at a price advantage to India rather than more expensive? Or do we see the energy burden and prices of petroleum products going up in the near future?
Navika, all these months, in fact years, hasn't Prime Minister Modi taken every decision keeping India's interest top of the priority? He has very clearly chosen India's interest on the top of anything else. Even at a time when war was escalating, even at a time when sanctions were being imposed, we kept India's interest at the top, which is what he'll do every time. I think the people of India trust Prime Minister Modi. You can ask questions, but I'm sure you will get the reply anywhere you ask that the Indian interest will never be compromised by Prime Minister Modi.
The opposition says this is surrender 2.0. The first time we surrendered was when the ceasefire information came from Washington by President Trump. That was surrender number 1, and now this is surrender number 2.0 because we get information first from Washington than from New Delhi. How do you respond to the opposition?
No, on the what you may call as whatever, surrender 1, surrender 2, surrender 1 and all that. You had response coming from Government of India. You very clearly understood that we've said that there was no interference by anybody in that matter.
Post facto. The first info came
Never mind, but a statement very clearly saying nobody interfered. Doesn't that show that India's interest has been kept on the top? And we didn't surrender. So now, Till yesterday, the media themselves were saying what dire provocations, what kind of a, taunt and whatever was happening. PM kept us cool. Everybody recognized that. And suddenly overnight you seem to go back to play the same game. India's interests will never be compromised by Prime Minister Modi. Let's not constantly keep questioning it only because there is somebody who has been doing only this to dishonor government of India, even when he is outside, not just when he's in the parliament, where he has every right to ask us questions. To make sure to make Indian government appear irresponsible or appear as though it doesn't care for its citizens, that's been the job of the leader of the opposition. I hope Indian media is not getting carried away by that.
It's not a question of media, it's just a question of knowing the facts. For us, as far as we are concerned, we need to inform the people of India.
Absolutely.
And for that information, we need to know, are we buying oil from Russia, Venezuela, Iran, US? What are we doing? And whether we have the price advantage that Russia was giving us now any longer, or believe the opposition which says that India has been bullied into silence and bullied into doing what America wants us to do.
We have not said we won't respond, have we? We said we want to come and reply.
Time is of the essence.
Yes, he was willing to come, but you disrupted the House and the Speaker thought it fit to adjourn the House. But even then the Minister is available for coming and saying things. And even tomorrow when the House convenes, he will be available to make a statement.
Do you think somewhere, as the finance minister, do you think after delivering a budget of the kind that you did, looking at long-term growth, looking at the deliverables, looking at the growth path of this nation, somewhere the politics has overshadowed it? Even on the budget, Mr. Rahul Gandhi has said that it's a blind budget, blind to all the crises that the country is facing. How do you respond?
I know he is the leader of the opposition and therefore you want to take every one of his statements seriously. But would you also...
You don't?
No, I've told you already that I take every statement of the opposition seriously. But of course, when he's talking without any fundamental basis in his hand, you just wonder what kind of a reply can I give him? Because he's just shooting off his hip. One example. India, he said, is a dead economy. I'm not even wanting to say who he copied, pasted and repeated. But he's the leader of the opposition. His party members are in different standing committees and consultative committees, and questions are asked and replies are given in the parliament. Despite that, the leader of the opposition in Indian parliament calls the Indian economy dead when the growth is the highest for the last consecutively 3-4 years. And every institution in the world which is observing all global economies is saying India is going at the fastest rate. Now that's the leader of the opposition. I can always stand up and say, no, sorry, leader of the opposition, India is not a dead economy. But is that the conversation you want? But dead economy or not? And you call it dead? Do you respect the people of India who are contributing and who are the makers of India? We are all sitting in the parliament representing them, but they are the ones who are toiling in the field. They are the ones who are giving you the result, as a result of which you get your GDP numbers. So by calling it dead, are you saying you have no value for the work that they've done? The contribution that they're making? I'm astonished.
Do you think politics is bitter, or do you think it's now in these days just based on rhetoric and appealing to a certain audience?
No, rhetoric has always been a part of parliamentary democracy and I have space for it. But bitterness, cynicism, constant pulling down of India's image. I'm not talking about Prime Minister here, India's image. Disrespecting every institution, election commission, parliament, speaker, disrespecting every one institution. Please, Have your rhetoric as much as you want. Argue, debate, question. Strong words, I have still no problem. But if you constantly decry India, bring your cynicism in and say nothing can happen in this country. 4 years people are showing that, no, we bring in value addition. We are going to work. We will have better production. We will serve the economy. And in turn, better their families. Don't you want to speak a word good for them?
They question the numbers and they quote the IMF for doing so, because the IMF has raised some questions about the sanctity of the data that India puts out. How do you respond to
But they are the ones who have today said that India is the fastest growing.
And you also said, if you believe IMF on that,
because, yes,
then believe them on the shady data.
No, not shady. I'm sorry. What is it that they've questioned? We are still using 2011 base year. And therefore they say, come on, can you not do a different base year which is latest, which is closer to your time? And isn't that what must be doing? By 27th of February, they are going to launch the new series. And therefore, are you saying using 2011 is wrong because 2011 data itself was wrong? That's not my fault. Who was the government at that time? 2011 data is being questioned, yeah? So let's have somebody answer for that.
You love those questions, no? Because every time, either we go back to UPA 2011 or we go back to Nehru. And that's also become a bit of a, lame excuse that...
Yeah, but here, when you're saying IMF is questioning us on the basis of credibility of our data, their question specifically is on why are you using an old base year? Do the latest. The latest is happening. We should take that into consideration.
I really want to ask you the question. I mean, on budget day itself, a statement was made about Venezuelan oil by President Trump. It's been 3 days since that. That is not even part of the statement that came on the trade deal. Why would we not set the record straight on what exactly is the position? You're saying trade deal data or details will come out and they'll come out in Parliament. What about the other part, the oil part? We don't know the details. As Finance Minister, who would have to look at her budget very closely depending on where our energy needs are being met from. Can you tell the country what is the latest situation on this?
Where we buy our oil, where we don't buy our oil, all that is given in the Parliament as a reply, Navika. Every year how much we buy, how much of foreign exchange is paid for that, where does it come from, how much gets refined, how much gets exported, everything is there.
No, about the change, because now Venezuela is in the picture, earlier it wasn't.
Even this will be disclosed.
Again.
But the point, that's the way it is. You will get the details, but not off the cuff. You will get it. Maybe tomorrow in the Parliament, maybe not, maybe later. But you will get it. Authentic replies are given. There's no way in which I can evade giving an answer.
So, do you think waiting is the only thing that we can do?
For a few hours. It was to be happening this evening. It'll happen tomorrow. I don't think that is, unreasonable.
Should we be congratulating ourselves for the Indo-US trade deal already? Because we don't know details about it.
No, wait for the details. I wouldn't think you should rush to congratulate me.
So we're not celebrating it just yet?
But let's get the details out. You wanted that.
So basically right now all we know is that the tariff, the penal tariff rates that had been put are down from 50 to 18%.
Yes.
And the statement said that our products that will go to, their products will come at a 0%, but we will have to pay 18%. Is that a little unfair as far as a deal is concerned?
Let's get the details and talk about it.
Well, the Indo-EU FTA, how much of an impact do you think that is going to have on our economy? And do you think do you think the growth rate, which is in the region of 7.4, is going to necessarily get into a much higher trajectory on the basis of the recent trade deals? Will it impact investment?
Yes, they will impact, because our exports have traditionally had a very strong European market. In some items, because of the general scheme of preferences, GSPs had been withdrawn. Our competitive edge was a bit numbed. Bangladesh benefited from that kind of a GSP treatment offered to them, and therefore their textile exports went multiplying. But that didn't deter our exporters. We still were exporting. But a trade deal would have given a bit more confidence, which is what now, after the signing of the deal, we think our industries have gotten. And particular sectors which are labor intensive will benefit, because they are products which are much sought after. Our marine products, our textiles, our footwear, our sports goods, our cars, and so on. So I'm confident that they will have a very good bearing on the economy.
In terms of investments and job creation, because unemployment, once again, after falling to a low of 3.2% end of 24, is back a tad higher at 4.9. Do you think that's an area of worry, and do you think investments will really pick up to take care of this unemployment rate?
I think unemployment is an issue which we are very seriously addressing, not just through budget, but even otherwise. Skilling them, upskilling people, creating a portal where matchmaking can happen for skills that are available and the jobs that are being offered, and so on. And the government jobs are being filled up since 22, I think, November. No vacancies are left, or in the sense sanctioned positions are not left unoccupied. So government jobs are getting filled up. We are creating opportunities for people to become entrepreneurs. Even if they don't get jobs, they can run their own show, so on. So it is not a one-dimensional issue of addressing jobs. It is looking at the entire gamut of what makes productive work so that people can earn out of it. So for each one of the sectors, we are looking at skilling people, giving them the opportunities, exposing them to different companies through internship schemes, and so on. So government has not sat back on the requirement of the youth.
Let me also ask you, just after the budget presentation, the markets really went into a free fall, almost about 1,500 odd points down. And then this morning, they've really woken up to the great cheer. I don't know, maybe about the Indo-US trade deal, which we don't know much about. Were you worried then, and are you satisfied today?
No, the correction that I did by raising the STT on futures and options is the correction which was much needed. We've had people calling us saying people are losing money heavily. It was not just anecdotal. There are studies to show how 90% of the people who were participating in futures and options market were losing heavily, 90%. And therefore, to deter that,
the speculative forces.
Yes, many of the Hindi newspapers have reported that is exactly where the Satta operations happen. And therefore, we've raised it a little bit, not with revenue consideration, but clearly making sure that that deters people from going in.
But then why did the markets get spooked, if it was for their benefit?
If it is for the benefit of those who are entering the futures, they are not the ones who are probably leading to the negative sentiment.
And the reaction today, almost 2,400 points up?
Because we explained it out, saying we have not treated all the STTs for a hike. It is only the STT which is on future and options. The others we have not even gone anywhere near.
So the markets today did not react to the trade deal?
Maybe they reacted to the trade deal also. I'm not saying any one particular reason is the one. There can be a blend of reasons. They're probably also sensing that a lot of investments are likely to come. There can be many more things.
The opposition also has raised the issue of how, as a percentage of the overall budget, allocations for health, allocations for education have actually come down from the past to this year's budget, which they question your priorities in terms of commitment to these sectors.
If I want to give a response which is going to be harmless, did they read the budget, Navika? Allied health service workers, medical hub, tertiary sector workers, animal husbandry in rural areas, and veterinary doctors, veterinary surgeons, and testing labs, fisheries, waterways, fishermen who are going into deep sea to get fish from the economic zone, the rare earth corridor. Have they at least gone through it? 3 major All India institutes for Ayurvedic treatment. Here in Delhi you have. I still don't get the name of the place, somewhere in Mathura Road. One of the best Ayurvedic care centers. We are opening 3 of them. So I just want to understand health, then education. There is going to be a standing committee which will tell how education, skilling and entrepreneurship can all be brought together even in the institutions before students leave them, so that they come out better trained. That requires money. Health, I'm giving this. Education, I'm doing that. I'm also saying there can be 5 educational hubs. These are not education and health.
The point they are making is that outlays for these sectors compared to the overall budget allocation, the percentage has gone down, even though allocations in real terms...
They have not gone down. The BE to B you compare, nothing has come down.
Mr. Manish Tiwari has criticized the budget, saying that the debt levels are so high that I think 3/4 of the budget...
With due respect, I take Manish Tiwari's comments very seriously, because he studies a lot, comes well researched, he speaks well. I've known him even during the panel days of my spokesperson times.
That's right.
We've been together. He always does rigorous reading and then comes. Even in Parliament when he speaks with a lot of work done. Debt problem, if it's a problem, I won't give myself a number saying by 2030-31, I'll bring the government of India's debt down to 50% level, ±1, of GDP, which means I'm focusing my attention on debt and making sure it comes down. Of course, he belongs to a different party than the party which is in power in Punjab. He should look at what's happening in Punjab. I normally don't speak about particular states, but debt in some states, I'm also trying to work with them to reduce that burden. Some states have taken the offer. When I say I'm also trying to work, I'm saying my team in Government of India will sit with the state governments and see how best to restructure their debt so that the burden can come down. I'm not naming, but some chief minister has also spoken appreciating this step by the central government, and he doesn't belong to my party.
Yeah.
Yes.
An opposition.
Yes.
Chief minister has...
Yes, and he said it in the house there, in the assembly.
Because you name? I mean,
I have actually invited finance ministers from various states, not just BJP people, saying, please make sure your debt gets restructured. You really can't afford to have high-cost loans and keep servicing them, interest payment, return of principal. So come, some states have done it and benefited out of it. So if debt is a concern, it is a concern for everybody else also. But I'm showing a path in which I'm reducing the debt.
Others need to take you up on the offer.
Some of them are doing it, and some others will have to probably also. The Finance Commission in its report has also spoken about it.
Ms. Sitharaman, I want to ask you, last year, ahead of the Bihar elections, everybody in the opposition criticized you saying that Bihar budget hai, ye central budget nahi hai. Bihar ke बारे में आपने इतने projects कर दिए. This year, also 4 states are going to polls. This year the criticism is the opposite, that आपने किसी poll state के लिए कुछ नहीं बोला.
So करो तो डांट, ना करो तो डांट.
सब निर्मला मामी को डांटते क्यों? Why?
I mean, well, if you're in the opposition, you think you have every liberty to criticize, and I have no problem with them. Please let them do it.
Oh, you have a problem?
I will answer it.
You will?
Yes.
Why did you
not? It'll be a problem if I'm unable to answer.
So why did you not have special projects for the poll-bound states, keeping with the last year's precedent?
Kerala and Tamil Nadu getting the corridor for rare earth. Poll-bound states have given them the corridors. High-speed rail goes to Chennai, given to them. Every coconut plant will be given a tree which is aged, will get a sapling. Coconut promotion will be big deal. Kerala and Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, of course, not in polls, but are 2 poll-bound states. The other poll-bound state, Bengal, is getting the east-west corridor starting from Durgapur, I think, Dankuni.
Mamta Didi said that she's already got her own projects, and this project is when she was railway minister. No thanks to you.
She didn't implement, she just announced and went away, but we are implementing it, no?
Because it's West Bengal elections.
If you want to put it that way. So, election-bound states or not or non-election bound states. I've taken names of all the states. I've taken the name of Northeast states. There's no election there.
Assam?
I've not taken Assam's name, in fact.
That's why. They're saying why.
But I've taken these states' name, na. I've taken also non-election bound states. I've taken also poll-bound states. So this particular budget, everybody's name is there. And despite that, some honorable members said, my state's name is not there. I asked this question even the last time. If a state's name is not in the budget, read out, does it mean that no money goes to that state? In a 90-minute speech, how much more can I add?
You could have taken another 10 minutes and added a few states.
I'm sure.
But is it absolutely impossible to impress the opposition? Do you feel that way?
No, it's not a question of impression. It is impressing the opposition. It's more a question of opposition wanting to pick a hole in a budget, possibly where there is less opportunity to criticize.
Akhilesh Yadav ji said, आपका बजट ऐसा है जैसे लोहे के ऊपर पीतल चढ़ाकर जेवर बनाने पड़ेंगे. How do you respond to it?
No, I can't respond. Because if you're just giving some kind of a metaphorical expression and going away, please let him stand and say, what is it? Lohe ke upar peetal and then making a zever. Why do you have to trouble yourself doing all that? Yeah, just read the budget and you'll know that is not required. Like the way you all say, सोने पर सुहागा वो हुआ है बजट में. आप लोहे को क्यों ढूंढ रहे हो भैया? सोने पे सुहा है.
आप तो तमिलनाडु से आती हैं और हिंदी बोल रही हैं. डीएमके को प्रॉब्लम होगा.
मगर यूपी को तो हिंदी में ही जवाब देना पड़ता है. इसलिए मैं कोशिश कर रही हूँ. वो अंग्रेजी समझते हैं, फिर भी हिंदी में देना ही उचित है जब लोहे और पीतल ये सब आता है.
Well said. Nirmala ji, this time I saw you seem to have taken exception to the conversation on your saris. Why? Because it's something that stands out. Why have you taken exception?
No, I'm not taking exception, Navika. I'm very happy and I see this as a good opportunity each budget to promote India's handlooms. I only wear handlooms. Budget or no budget, I don't wear machine-made. And I love India's handloom saris. I wear saris literally every day. And I'm proud about wearing them. And I definitely do choose my sari for the budget. But I said it in the context of, it's nice, I'm able to talk about saris, I'm able to wear it, and there are very many people who've come to me to say, oh, I love that sari, not so much this one, that one. Makes wonderful, inspiring conversation. But beyond that, yes, I will love to talk, and I'll certainly promote. I'm happy to promote Indian handloom. But beyond that, there should be a conversation about what work I do. And you don't start the conversation, I said, and I don't need to say it again, but I said, with the clothes that the minister wear for a male minister.
Nobody talks about it.
That's the only point.
They do. Social media these days, I mean, everybody comments on everything. So, frankly, I sometimes don't see a gender bias because everything is discussed.
I agree.
From the color of your sari to they commented last year, and I'm sure it wasn't a coincidence. You wore a Madhubani before the budget election. This year you wore a Kanjivaram before the Tamil Nadu elections. Before that, you Karnataka elections were around the corner, and I remember you wore sari from Karnataka. So you do make a point with your sari.
Of course, why not? In fact, I wouldn't have minded wearing a mekhla chadar to showcase Assam's beautiful handlooms. I have several of them. I would have loved to wear it.
But you chose Tamil Nadu.
No, not that. It's also a question, you know, many factors.
Assam against sarkar hai,
no, against the camera.
Tamil Nadu mein banani hai, so isliye Kanjivaram.
I would have worn a mundu. Because we want a government in Kerala too. So.
But Nirmala Sitharaman, you know, all these memes look at you as a very serious person. But I saw you talking to students right after the budget day, and you seem to be in a different world. What is it about that conversation?
The young are so energetic, and it is contagious. You know, you sit there, you'll tend to shoulder your down your shoulders and talk to them at ease, and they talk to you without any prejudice. They talk to you with so much of expectation, saying, I want to hear her say things. So you want to be absolutely open-minded about talking to them. And I've always enjoyed the company of young. It's so much...
If you have a young parliamentarian asking you questions, you don't like those?
No. When did you see me not liking...
Rahul Gandhi पूछता है, आप कहाँ जवाब देते हैं?
Young? Excuse me.
He is the youth leader.
Okay. So no, it is because of the environment that youngsters can bring in. It's so energetic, and I love doing it. It's not the first time. I've done several times. For some reason, this happened on the budget day because I had invited about 33 students from all over India, all in the first BA, BSc, second year, that kind, to come watch the budget being read from the gallery. We arranged for their visit, and then we also made sure they had an interaction with me. So it was such a wonderful experience. And again, this is not just the one set. My Bharat youngsters had an engagement with PM. They also gave a lot of inputs for us. So that's why I refer to
So you actually took their inputs for making the budget?
Yes, some of the inputs have come from there. And that's why I referred to it in my budget speech. They have given me inputs, and fantastic inputs. So this engagement that are all happening continuously. Ministers are engaging with youngsters to find out what they want to convey to them. So this is not anything new, but I certainly personally love it.
Gen Z is the way forward?
Yes, of course. It is for them we are making this budget. By 2047, India should be something so that they'll be proud of being an Indian citizen. And therefore, that's the kind of budget we're making.
Any unfinished agenda that you felt you couldn't include this year, which you have up your sleeve for the next budget?
What didn't get covered in this speech are still there. I could cover only some. There are many more which are elaborated. There people are now picking it up, saying, you know, one example I give you. I couldn't say in this speech. Manrega.
Ji Ramji.
Ji Ramji. Everybody protested. At the time when the bill was brought and got passed, what was promised has been provided for in the budget, 95,000 crores. But Manrega also has an overhang. Some monies are due, some states have still demanded. I've given 30,000 crores for that as well.
Over and above this 95?
Over and above this 95. So, if you take both together, because they pertain to the same issue, 125 days here, 100 days there, but whatever, 1,20,000 within a year. Protesters of G Ramji will never acknowledge this.
Because they don't have time to...
No, they don't read. They only create a perception.
Would you invite the opposition into the same kind of a class that you had with Gen Z and college students?
I love to have it.
For parliamentarians, even from the opposition?
Yes, why not?
So, will we see an overture going out from the finance minister कि आओ बैठते हैं, discuss करते हैं?
जरूर. I don't mind calling them and saying, you want to talk?
क्योंकि पार्लियामेंट के अंदर तो होगी नहीं ये चर्चा, शायद पार्लियामेंट के बाहर कर लें.
So, there is so much more in the budget which has not been read. And that's why I say, not just my speech here, please go into the details and then question me. I'll be happy to answer.
Well, Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman, every budget has its highs and lows, but these days what we see in Parliament is actually not the merits of the case being discussed. What we see probably is histrionics. I don't know whether the logjam will be broken, but certainly there are details from the government that the country would want to know, and there is the right to question from the opposition.
Of course.
And we do hope in the coming days and weeks they will exercise their rights, again, for the sake of people of India.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for joining me once again on Frankly Speaking, and I must say I do look forward to these annual interactions. I think the 9 years that you've been finance minister, I've been sitting across asking you and analyzing the budget. Pleasure to have you once again answering the questions of the people.
Thank you very much, Navika, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you.